Oh man, if you're a liberal and/or all you do is consume mainstream news media, you are no doubt sweating bullets over the current state of the US economy. A recession is incoming. A Great Depression is looming. How on earth are you going to afford to live under the next 4 years of this Trump presidency? This man is wielding tariffs like a sword on fire. He's engaging in trade wars with our best friends to the North, Canada, like a bully. He's going up against China's economy. The stock market is crashing. Inflation is looming. Gas prices, egg prices, consumer confidence. What on earth is going on? Let me tell you something. The mainstream media is leaving out all of the hard facts, and I'm here to report them as they are on this very quick and special Sunday report of American Advocates. So, if you're a consumer of mainstream news media, clips like this are very familiar to you. Check this out.
What are Americans saying in this poll about how they think the president is handling all of this, with a relevant note that this poll began and ended before the massive stock market sell-off that we've seen this week?
Yes, but not before the chaos we've seen over the last 3 weeks.
Exactly.
And I think that is reflected in the numbers here. You are right. The economy is issue number one by far for Americans, as indicated in this poll. His approval rating on this issue is 44%. Trump's disapproval rating, 56% of Americans disapprove of his handling of the economy. We've never seen him that far underwater and upside down in terms of approval and disapproval on this issue in his entire presidential career.
And of course, this is CNN, right? Clinton News Network, as President Trump would call it. And there's a lot of other reports out there like this too, from very biased pollsters who want you to think that America is crumbling in under 2 months under this Trump presidency. But the reality is, despite all of these doom and gloom articles that they're publishing like fiends, talking about recessions looming and inflation caused by tariffs and the stock market crashing, they're doing what they always do. They are planting the narrative and they're spreading it as fast as they can, because the truth of the matter is, anyone who knows anything about the economy knows that it's actually headed in the right direction. And they want to fearmonger and spread fear as much as they can right now because they want to get a grip on people. What they're hoping for is they're hoping to be able to brainwash you into thinking it's hopeless. The economy is screwed. That way, when good news winds up coming out about it, it'll be easier for them to lie and manipulate and convince the people who already think the economy sucks and is going to get worse under Trump. They'll be able to convince them that, well, this is only a temporary increase and this is just Donald Trump is just drag racing the economy and it's only going to get worse, and he's just playing the game wrong for short-term gains to look better, but really here's why it's going to get worse still. They always pull this crap. Don't buy into it. Let's start with one of the prices I covered in a video earlier this week on my news segments for American Advocates, the price of eggs. The price of eggs this week have continued to drop, just like they have been for 3 weeks now, mind you. They're down over 25% since President Trump took office, and their price now matches the lowest price that they've been since before Trump was sworn in on Inauguration Day. In fact, you have to go back to November or December of last year to see when egg prices were as low as they are now. So when it came to all these liberals commenting all over social media posts, smugly flaunting, "What happened to the price of eggs? That was supposed to be fixed day one." What you have to bear in mind with this liberal narrative is they know that President Trump is actually going to make things better, and they hate that. So what they're doing is they are creating an unrealistic time frame for when he should make things better. They didn't go on complaining about Joe Biden's presidency. They were forced to bring up a lot of major flaws throughout his presidency, and it wound up fitting their narrative conveniently for them to do so in his last 2 years, as they already realized that he wasn't going to be their guy, especially after the debate with Trump. Then you can see tons of negative news articles about Joe Biden. That's when, at that point, they realized they were screwed, and they needed to get Kamala Harris in there to run, who was equally going to screw them over, too, with Tim Walz. But the whole point is, they're creating unrealistic time frames for President Trump. This man has not been president for even 2 months yet as of time of recording of this video. So what are they asking for? They're asking for a miracle worker, and they know that's what they're doing. And the liberals buy into it because they're blinded by hate. And with that hatred, they want to keep hating. And so it's very easy. It's very easy for them to spread this on their base and say, well, egg prices weren't fixed when Trump was sworn in. He should have went right to the Oval Office and he should have done something, and egg prices should have dropped 75% the next day. That's so unrealistic. And of course, on a campaign promise, President Trump was talking about prices of eggs and bacon and all this stuff. And yes, it's a campaign. He's going to overestimate his abilities. That's what pretty much every president does. So when it comes to the rest of the voter base of America who voted for President Trump and, is understanding of what's going on here, we don't hold him to such unrealistic standards. We didn't wake up January 21st, see the price of eggs hadn't changed, and gone, oh my God, I shouldn't have voted for President Trump. It's ridiculous. The same thing goes for the next one, gas prices. Those are continuing to drop now too. The national gas price average is down quite a bit per gallon. And it's going to continue to drop because President Trump has a very positive energy action plan in place, mainly using the energy that we have right here in America. Drill, baby, drill. Our gas prices, I predict, within the next year or two are going to be sinking, possibly to record lows or lows we have not seen in a very long time. And now for the really big one. This is one of those key trigger words that they've been using to create fear amongst the populace, linking it to tariffs falsely in many cases. And I have another video on my channel right here on how the Trump tariffs will usher in the golden age of America and how they will not cause inflation. You cannot link tariffs to inflation. Perhaps you can link them to rising prices, yes, but not inflation. And here it is. This is the true-inflation gap. Take a look and notice how it's done nothing but decline since President Trump took office. And you can see in February it shot back up a little bit, but it didn't go right back up to where it was when he took office. It went up slightly and then continued to go right back down. And the news media is not reporting it like this. They've mentioned how it's gone down a little bit here and there, but they're not actually showing you what's really happening. Inflation is decreasing tremendously. In fact, it's decreasing beyond forecasters' expectations, which it did last month, and now it's doing this month as well. Forecasters can't even accurately predict how much inflation is decreasing properly because Trump is working so well with inflation. As this online news article so accurately portrays it, Trump is up and Dems are down. And this is true because the Democrat approval rating continues to hit new historic lows. Some polls are showing them as low as 29%, others are showing them as low as 21%. Their own party hates them. On top of that, not only are Dems down, but like I said, inflation is down. And that's the key one here. The economy is about to be looking great. You just got to give it a little bit of time. It hasn't even been 2 months. And to showcase this number might look low to you at first glance, but when you understand the history behind this number, you'll understand how big of a deal this is. This is the infamous right track, wrong track poll, where Americans are asked what their opinion is on the course the president is taking America on, right track or wrong track. Under President Trump currently, right now, as of yesterday, 44% of Americans believe that we are on the right track. I know, it's a low number, but you have to understand, historically, that number hasn't cracked over 40% since 2012. And it hasn't been 44% since January of 2004. This is a historic high for this number. Take a look at this clip actually being explained.
First of all, the mood of the country, this really jumped out. We asked folks, is it on the right direction or the wrong direction? That 44%, you say right direction, that's up since November. And if that doesn't seem like a lot, the last time it cracked 40%, you got to go back to 2012. The last time it actually hit 44 or higher, January of 2004. So a lot of this is Republicans, but independents, that number is also up since the election on the direction of the country.
And when it comes to the stock market, yes, it dropped significantly at the start of this past week. But by the end of this past week, those numbers were already back up on the rise, gaining significantly to end off Friday. Take a look. S&P 500 and the Dow Jones both back up to end Friday. Things are looking optimistic on the market even. And, the whole thing with the stock market is it's going to fluctuate. What President Donald Trump is doing is he is implementing practices and policies, in many cases, that have not been practiced or enforced for 80, 90, or 100 or more years. And so there's a lot of instability on the market because people have forgotten what these things do. People have forgotten what it's like to live in a nation that tariffs other countries in the world and is aiming to tariff imports and begin exporting more and to bring back manufacturers to the domestic front and reshore manufacturers and factories again. People have forgotten this. People have been brainwashed when it comes to things like taxes. Taxes were not a thing on the American population now the way they were then. Things are much different, and President Trump is trying to restore the golden age of America. And to do that, you have to look back 80, 90, or 100 years. That's exactly what he's doing. Everything down to the Alien Immigration Act from 1798. That could be a whole video in and of itself because, well, a domestic judge has struck that down. But not to get sidelined. That's why the market is the way that it is. It is a good indicator of economic health, but it is not the only indicator of economic health. That's why I showed the inflation graph, the price of eggs, the price of gas. These are important things to look at, and the media doesn't want you to see it that way, so they don't show it this way. But that's why channels like this exist, and that's why there are other large channels out there that are independent news sources that are garnering a lot of attention and gaining more popularity amongst people because the mainstream media is corrupt. We all know it's corrupt. They have their overlords that tell them how to report the news, and they report it that way. They're biased, they're corrupt, and in the words of President Trump at the Department of Justice speech that he gave, they might just be illegal. You never know. We'll find out as his administration carries on these next 4 years. But the whole point is, remain optimistic about the economy, because the economy is going to shine under this administration. Of that much, I am confident. As always, thanks for watching. Please consider subscribing. It's 100% free. Stay up to date with news reports that I give throughout the week and in-depth dives like this one about topics that matter right here on American Advocates.